I had seen this on Twitter and I had also seen this on Instagram, right? And the thing that I had seen on Twitter and Instagram is Los Angeles. We're going to spend some time on California and Los Angeles for a minute, y'all. Los Angeles solution to homelessness right by Skid Row, right by Skid Row, is to produce luxury apartments. Bro, you cannot make this up. Los Angeles, California solution is to build $100 million plus luxury apartments, swanky apartments for homeless people right in LA, right on Skid Row. I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe what I was hearing. Is nobody in our legislative branches that could be this stupid? This got to be money laundering. This got to be something different. But check it out.
Liberal LA has a new solution for the homeless crisis: luxury living. The city is about to open a new 19-story apartment building in the middle of Skid Row, complete with luxury amenities like a cafe, a gym, and an art studio.
Listen, listen, y'all. This is not a game. This is not trolling. This is a real life scenario. I was looking at the renderings, I was looking at different stuff. Multiple different uh people were reporting on it and people that had inside information and what was going on. And this is a real thing. And the regular media outside of this small 5 minute thing on Fox News, shout out to the name Joe. I'm gonna read that super chat shortly. They the only ones that was reporting on it. It was the weirdest thing ever. And we know that California has spent over $24 billion on the homeless crisis with not even a dent in it.
The developer tells the LA Times, quote, "We're trying to make our little corner of the world look and feel a little better." And the homeless crisis isn't the only problem for.
Why y'all be asking is it live? Y'all click on the link, y'all join into the live stream, and you see that it says live right there. Why do y'all be asking is it live? What's up, Leslie Aaron? What's up, baby?
For California Governor Gavin Newsom, business owners are calling him out for raising the minimum wage to $20 an hour. They took out a full-page ad in USA Today to show the country the real cost of the minimum wage hike. The business owners claim nearly 10,000 jobs have been cut since Newsom signed the bill into law, including 1,200 Pizza Hut delivery drivers who had to be laid off. So, Cheryl, you are far smarter about business than I will ever be. When you talk about things like jacking up the minimum wage and giving free luxury
What up, Florida boy?
housing to homeless people, who does that hurt the most?
That would hurt the economy and also the taxpayers. Besides, something about California right now. They lead the nation when it comes to one-way moves out of the state. Their tax base is shrinking. Newsom is sitting on a $45 billion budget deficit. He now wants to cut money from the prison system. He wants to cut money from law enforcement and the courts. But, let's build a tower in prime LA property. Okay, that's $600,000 is the unit cost for each of these apartments.
Look, man, look. I don't have the solution for completely eradicating homelessness. I don't. Guilty. I think that it will be a concerted effort and it needs to be multi level in order for you to solve for homelessness. The first thing that you got to do is you got to close off the borders to people that's coming over here and getting free opportunities to just do whatever it is that they want to do. And you need to vet people effectively who's coming over here to make them legal migrants, not illegal immigration. That's the first thing. The second thing you have to do is you have to make the environment business friendly to make it easier for people to be able to get jobs. The third thing that you got to do is you got to get tough on crime. Fourth thing you got to do is you got to cut off the suppliers and make sure that you're not continuing to have the cartels running drugs through LAX, right? Fifth thing that you got to do is you got to make it easier for people to be able to get housing. Sixth thing, it can't be permanent. It has to be temporary, meaning people shouldn't be able to be on social services for the rest of their life. You got to incentivize them to continue to do the thing that's in their best interest. It's so many different things and different things that you got to work on. So just saying, hey man, we about to build some luxury apartments. But to think not only are you building housing for homeless, because this is an unsustainable business practice, and more importantly, you're going to have taxpayers that's on the hook for this for the rest of our lives. 600 bands per unit, $600,000 per unit is the cost to be able to develop this. This is not ongoing upkeep, maintenance, facility, none of this stuff. And so when I say social services, this is where the waste and the spending is going as far as your tax dollars. They're building luxury homeless apartments.
600 grand for each unit of this tower. You can't tell me that that makes fiscal sense, because it does not. And they are desperate to try to. It's going to be more taxes on those that actually own homes. It's going to be worse for the taxpayers.
And of course, if you're a young person trying to get into the housing market, I would think that would just make it all the climb all the steeper for them to get into the housing market. Joey, look at some of the things that they're going to talk about. Defunding the police. Democrats love to say, "Oh, we're not really in favor of defunding the police." Yes, they are. They want to cut $97 million from trial courts operations, $80 million from the Department of Corrections, $10 million from DOJ's Division of Law.
California is not a real place. It's not. Los Angeles, California. Look, check it out. California is operating at a deficit, meaning that they have less money coming in than they have going out. The costs are ballooning. Social services is going up. They throwing more money to in the trash, and less money are coming in. They trying to tax people even more to death, and then they making it unsustainable for business owners to be able to thrive inside of the city. What do you think is going to happen to the state? California is the biggest Ponzi scheme and upcoming imploding state in the entire nation. There is no state, not one, that is further in their journey towards imploding and ultimately becoming the biggest trash heap that I've ever seen in my entire life. 1000%. There is no city that is going to become a bigger implosion of trash. And they're gonna keep Gavin Newsom there unless he's gonna run for president. There is no city that or no state that is going to be worse off than California before I die. Before it's all over, that whole state is going to implode.
Law enforcement. So is this going to make quality of life in LA better?
You know, the libertarian in me wants to say, hey, some of those aren't too bad. You know, cut some of that federal spending, some of that federal pork. But these are also parts of the government that are a constitutional protection of our rights as citizens. We have a right to go to court and defend ourselves, and to have proper representation, and to have proper adjudication of things that we're concerned about. You start cutting the courts, look at the ripple effect of how people's lives are rocked. Look at what President Trump's going through right now. If his conviction is appealed and he's an innocent man, what if there weren't the resources for that? And that hangs over his head for 10 years instead of 2. Now put yourself in that situation in a state like California, where they've got a ban on everything and they've got a code against everything, and you almost...
Somebody said you're forgetting about NYC, fam. Scooby Don. I'm gonna read that super chat shortly. No, I'm not. See, the one thing about New York is that New York is really the capital of America, meaning that all money kind of flowed through New York. You know what I'm saying? On the East Coast, it's a little bit different because you got Wall Street. New York is not. New York is a much smaller footprint with way more people, and New York has better public transportation. And so New York is always going to be in much better position than California. The only reason people move to California is because of the weather. People go to the West Coast and they largely stay because of the weather. Now, rich people have figured out how to finesse the system, meaning that as long as they declare that they live in a state such as Florida or Texas or Tennessee or something like that, or Vegas, even Vegas for the majority of the year, then they're declared a resident there, and then they ultimately can just use Los Angeles or Calabasas or whatever's happening in California as a playground. But as long as businesses to continue to leave, New York can print money. New York is just different. Like there's nothing in the world that can really compare to New York. New York is dirty as it is, as trash as it is, as horrible as the mayor is, as much as they run it at a deficit, whatever. New York is just a different animal. I mean, New York fight for air rights. You know what I'm saying? So people, let's just say, for example, me, I'm looking over here and I know that they building a hotel right below me, which is going to affect my view. You have to get approved for air rights because New York is so congested and there's so many people there, over 8 million people in New York alone, that they're literally building up instead of out. Now, California is just a completely different animal, right? You know that a city is thriving regardless of whether or not people gonna move there, even when it's cold. People are only moving out to California because it's warm. It's a different environment. You know what I'm saying?
Just have to go argue just to live your life freely.
Yeah. So last week, Gavin Newsom was boasting that California now has more Fortune
They say one out of every, I forgot how many, one out of every something people is millionaires in New York. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
500 companies than any state in the country. Even as it's impossible for the lower the income, the worse it is for people in California.
And not just in California, but all across, in many of the big cities across America, Chicago, Boston.
You got 305,000, over 300,000 millionaires, 675 centimillionaires, and 68 billionaires are in New York alone. Let me just say that again. According to the data on May 9th, 2024, they say it is over 300. Actually, that was updated. New York is home to almost 350,000 millionaires, the most in any city in the world, and nearly up 50% from a decade ago. So they say 1 in 24 New Yorkers are millionaires, despite reports. 1 in 24 New Yorkers are millionaires, despite reports of there being a huge wealth gap. Of the 8.3 million people there, 1 out of every 24 people in New York are millionaires. And a lot of the millionaires, and a centimillionaire is 744 centimillionaires. Those are people with over $100 million in wealth. And a lot of the people that are millionaires in New York, they say New York holds over $3 trillion of wealth. A lot of the people that are millionaires in New York, they regular people. So being a millionaire in New York is much different than being a millionaire somewhere else. So no, New York is different. I mean, New York is trash in a lot of ways too, but New York definitely ain't it ain't it ain't California. California is in a whole new world by itself.
And there's a housing affordability issue. So it's not just the people at the very bottom, the homeless that need a place to live.
Yes, it is true, Brian. 1 out of every 24 people in New York are millionaires. That is a fact. Y'all listen, man. Y'all got to get outside. I know y'all living in these areas where you think that everybody is broke and everybody is poor. They not. It's a lot of people getting money. And so when we having these conversations and we mining it out and we trying to help y'all how to get to this bag, y'all need to understand. When we trying to help y'all to get to this bag and y'all can't say, y'all saying everybody can't be rich, man, let me tell you something, bro. It's a lot of people out here getting money. And you can be one of them. Now, if you want to sit there and be broke all your life and you want to sit here and complain about what the state of things are instead of figuring out how you can get a slice of the pie, then that's on you. But We don't move in duress over here. We running it up. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
It's well above that. You talked about young couples. It's also anyone living close to the poverty line. They cannot afford a home, and this is an issue for cities. Cities have been trying to work and address this. This crisis with the migrants coming in, this is also affecting cities, affecting city budgets. And this is not. Well, this is among the many creative things that cities and states are doing to house migrants. But in Boston, in Massachusetts, the Bay State Correctional Center, that's an old prison, is expected to be opened later this month to migrants to house hundreds of people. So the creativity is going in all directions, and many of the states are suffering.
And I think,
You know what's so funny? Well, we know that LA is trash. All right. So LA is building a house for homeless people, or they building an environment for homeless people to be able to have luxury living and regular people with suffering. Most of the people that move to LA or move out there, they moving out there for the weather, or they moving out there to become a part of Hollywood. They don't even need to do that anymore. But $1 million, listen, $1 million for a lot of places is the new $100,000. $1 million. $1 million. Somebody said, if everyone is a millionaire, listen to the ignorance. If everyone is a millionaire, who would be picking up the trash among other things? 1 out of every 24 people. Over 350,000 people inside of New York are millionaires. That means that leaves you with another 7.6 million people. I'm pretty sure they can figure out of 7.6 million people who can go and pick up the trash. Are y'all thinking this through, or y'all just typing out y'all intrusive thoughts and just letting it fly? Are y'all really thinking this through, or are you just typing out in the chat and just letting your thoughts fly? Because I need you to think about what you're saying before you say it. Jesus Christ. Anyways, Jesus. They got 8 point something million people in New York. You got another 8 million people that can go and get regular jobs, pick up the trash and all of that. And that's not even counting the undocumented people that's living over there. $100,000 in New York is nothing. Is nothing. $100,000 is nothing.